Hey guys, welcome to AKV and this is Vishnu. So in this illustration, calculate expected return and standard deviation of the following two investments A and B exclusively, and also if the investment is divided one half in each. The economic predictions are economic climate, which is recession, stable and growth. The economic climate would be zero point 0.2, zero point 0.5 and 0.3. The return would be 12, 15 and 20. The return of B would be 10, 16 and 12. Going ahead with the solution, we have the we have a table so for the computation of risk as well as return. So first we will compute the risk of the portfolio. So for that we need to compute the question. They have required us to compute the standard deviation of individual A and B and as well as the combining AB. So first of all we are going to compute the return and risk of security A and B. For that I have made a table on which I have the column economic life, which contains recession, stable and growth, and we have probability of economic climate, which would be the probability 0.2, 0.5 and 0.3, and then the respective return. The return of A would be 12, 15 and 20. So when we so first we need to find the PI. So PI would be probability multiplied by the return. So when we multiply, which would be 12 into 2, which is 2.4, 15 into 0.5, which is 7.5, and 20 into 0.3, which is 6. When we take the total, the return will be 15.9. Then we have, so we got the X bar, or the return would be 15.9, and which is also known as X bar. So next we need to find X minus X bar. So X minus X bar would be 15.9 minus 12, sorry, X minus X bar would be 12 minus 15.9, which gives you negative 3.5, and 15.9 minus 15 will give you 0.09, and 15.9 minus 20 will give you the positive 4.1, which is the X minus X bar. Now we are going to compute the X minus X bar whole square raised to Pi. So X minus X bar would be 3.9. So the computation will be 3.9 into 3.9 into the probability 0.2, and on second one it would be 0.9 into 0.9, the probability 0.5, and third section it would be 4.1 into 4.1 into 0.3, and when we take the total it would be 8.49. Going ahead with the return of B, it would be 10, 16 and 12. So when we multiply it with the probability, we will get 10 into 0.2 and 16 into 0.5 and 12 into 0.3. We will get the return of 2, 8 and 3.6, which is, when we take the total it will be 13.6. So the 13.6 is the return of the security B, and after computing the X bar we need to compute X minus X bar. So X minus X bar will be, X will be 10, so 10 minus 13.6 will give you negative 3.6, and 10 minus 16 will give you, sorry, 16 minus 13.6 will give you 2.4, and 12 minus 13.6 will give you negative 1.6. After that we have X minus X bar whole square into Pi, which will give you, that is, X minus X bar is 3.6, therefore 3.6 into 3.6 into 0.2, and 2.4 into 2.4 into 0.5, and 1.6 into 1.6 into 0.3 will give you the amount, and when we take the total it would be 6.25. Therefore the risk will be the root of that the computed above. That is, for security A, right? Yes, for security A it would be root of 8.49. So root of 8.49 would be 2.91, and for security B it would be root of 6.24. 6.24 right here we have computed. So root of 6.25 will be 2.5. Now if the computation of risk and return, if the portfolio of A and B are combined together, that is, half of A and half of B are combined. So for that I have made a table, and the table which have the probability and return and return of A and return of B, and the probability as well as the 15%. So first we need to compute the 50% of return, that is 12 into 0.5 will give you 6, and 15 into 0.5 will give you 7.5, and 20 into 0.5 will give you 10. The same way in section B it would be 10 into 0.5, that is 5, 16 into 0.5 will be 8, 12 into 0.5 which will be 6. And when we take the total return, it will be 11, 15.5 and 16. After multiplying, after taking the sum, that is total return, we need to multiply it with the probability. So probability will be 0.2, 0.5 and 0.3. So when we multiply the total return with the probability, we'll get 2.2, 7.75 and 4.5. Taking the total, it would be 14.75. So 14.75 is the return of the portfolio if A and B are combined with 15% weight, 50% weight. After computing 14.75, which is the x bar, we need to compute x minus x bar. So x minus x bar is nothing but 11 minus 14.75 will give you negative 3.75, and 15.5 minus 14.75 will give you 0.75, and 16 minus 14.75 will give you 1.25. After computing the x point x bar, we need to compute the x minus x bar the whole square into pi, which is 3.75 negative 3.75 into negative 3.75 into 0.2, which is 2.81, and 0.75 into 0.75 into 0.5 will give you 0.28, and 1.25 into 1.25 into 0.3 will give you 0.48, and when we take the total it would be 3.56. And after computing the 3.56, which is a variance, we need to take the root for computation of risk or standard deviation. That is, root of 3.58 will become 1.68 as the risk. So guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you are clear with this example. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe.